Good. So welcome everyone. Good to have you all here. So today I have a question from Paula. So she asks, "Hello, can I ask for some advice? Since coming to Thailand, something inside me changed." So she has been with one of our retreats. "Since coming back, I feel sort of numb. I feel like I have nothing in common with a lot of friends and have nothing to say to them. People now tell me I am very quiet, but I just don't feel the need to speak unless it's about something I find of interest. I am still polite to people, but just seem to listen more of the blah blah blah. I changed jobs, which is quite demanding hours-wise, and lots of working from home. Perhaps this is also making me feel more sort of isolated too. Is this part of me changing? Am I lost? Am I depressed? I just do not seem to be excited about things and feel I don't actually fit in." So, thanks. I have been wanting to ask you about this for a while. I guess this is a question that many people feel to be very valid in their lives. If you pick up the practice of meditation, you start to get into this and make it a habit and take it seriously, not in the sense of taking yourself seriously, but really taking the practice, and you're committed to the practice, taking that seriously, then it very often feels in the beginning particularly that somehow what you have done before and the world as you have experienced it before, you're losing interest in it. And people feel that often, and then they respond to that in these ways, like, "Hey, you've become very quiet, what's wrong with you? You've been such a fun person before, and now you're just sitting around doing nothing really." People find that disturbing too, like if someone changes, it's often scary. Like anything that changes in our life, anything that changes in ourselves, our mind, our emotions, our thoughts, our character, if these kind of things change, then it's often scary, isn't it? We don't really want change. We're often saying that I really want change and I really need to change. The life has been going so far, it's just not good anymore. Then we do a meditation retreat and we really do change. After that, we come back into our ordinary day-to-day life, and then other people feel afraid of the way you have changed. You are not relating to the world from the same place that you've been relating to the world from before. So that's okay. This is part of our human development. You do something like meditating, it changes who you are. It changes, now to use a little bit of a sort of a hippie language, changes your vibes, it changes your frequencies. Okay? So the people that could relate to your vibes before you were starting the practice of meditation, they find it hard to now relate to this new kind of vibe. So they need their time to adjust to a new you. And similarly, also, you need the time to adjust to a new type of character that develops out of meditation practice. Maybe there's more need for calmness, there is more need for self-time, there's less need for distraction time, so you're less likely to go out, get drunk in the evenings and something like that. Maybe you prefer to sit at home and light a candle and kind of just be peacefully there by yourself. So this is change. Change is like this. And so we are not really giving it any judgments. We're not approaching that change with saying it is good, it is bad, what's happening to me, oh my God, am I becoming totally numb, am I going towards depression and so forth. Rather come back into this very moment and see, well, how is it like? How is the mind like? How is the personality like? Right now. When I say right now, I don't really mean like a general sense of now, like your conception of now, the idea of now, but I mean this very experience in your body right now, this very second. What is there that is really concerning? Really concerning. And if you look right now, you might find that, well, there is not really much that is actually concerning. But if you go up into your head again, you start creating stories. So you have that feeling come up in your body, and immediately, whoop, you go up into your head, and then you make a story about that feeling. Something is happening to me. Well, that doesn't feel good. Now again, this is a habit of story making. That's what the mind does. And particularly for many people, it does it in a negative way. It's this negative tendency to create frightening stories, like, oh, I'm going downhill. From now on, it's going downhill. I'm getting depressed. Should I see a doctor? And if you don't catch that one, if you don't have like a spiritual community, if you don't have anyone to ask, for many people, that actually turns into something very concerning. Because we give it weight from the very beginning on. We give it a lot of power through our interest. It's a sort of interest. We see a feeling in our body and we get interested in it. And we start interpreting it. And it becomes bigger and bigger through that process. So it's important to come back and really stay with the foundation of your practice. Forget the higher states. Forget level 2, level 3, level 4. Forget all of that. But really master level 1 of your practice. Just being able to be here now. And to appreciate the body as it is. And make that kind of your home base of practice. It's all I ever do. I haven't been doing this all the time. But now this is my focus in my practice. It's all about coming back to the basics. Because that's where the magic is at, actually. So if we stray from the basics, we lose our path. I guarantee you that. It's very important to stay with the basics and make it a firm goal to master that, to master the art of actually make it automatic, so to say. Make it automatic so that you naturally have a tendency to come back into your body and feeling the body and receiving it with still attention. That requires training. That's why we sit. And this is why it is also advisable not to mix with people too much in terms of stillness. Many of the meetings that we have with others, they are nothing but serving our need for distraction from ourselves. The need to actually run away from ourselves and not to be looking at ourselves. A human being, in my opinion, a human being needs time to be still every day. It is something is mostly lacking in our culture, in our education systems and so forth, this kind of emphasis on stillness, on just being there with yourself, appreciating just being here. It's very much lacking in our society, if you notice. There's a great emphasis is on entertainment. Being entertained is very important. And then, yes, if you are used to that lifestyle of being constantly entertained by something, then stillness can be very scary. It can be a great relief at first. Many people come to the retreat. The first emotion is, oh my God, 4 days of just me. It's kind of scary, you know. And then, day 1, they get into that. They enjoy their company. They enjoy silence. They seek it out. They have fun in it. It's very invigorating. Actually, it energizes you. Silence is energizing the mind. And an energized mind, as we all already know, or most of us already know, equals happiness. If your mind is well energized, if it is having enough energy, then this is happiness. The reason why we are unhappy is because all the mental energy goes out into worrying, future making, past making, that kind of stuff. We're losing our energy to things that really don't matter so much. I don't want to say they don't matter at all, but maybe not that much. It's like, where am I going? What is going to happen to me? This is what matters to a person that is generally unfulfilled now, unhappy now. If you're really happy, let's say you're just dancing with someone you love. Simple, everyday example that we all know, okay? You dance with someone you love. You're doing what you love, like climbing or playing music or whatever it is, okay? Do you ever worry about what to do next while you're doing it? Do you ever worry while you're doing it? I've been playing for a good time. I've been playing piano, and I still do play piano when a piano is around sometimes. But what strikes me is that when I do play, that there is just music then. The Tobi thing is gone. That's why it's nice. It's refreshing. The whole Tobi story that needs to kind of find its completion tomorrow or next month or next year, that is gone. And it's gone maybe for 20 minutes or 30 minutes. Depends how long I sit and play for. If I do something I love, then it's refreshing, and I love it because it's these times when I just forget who I am and where I'm heading and what I need and what I still don't have yet and so forth. So this is silence. This is what I really mean. So these times when you forget yourself, they are important. So seek out these times. And meditation is one of such time. It's a time where we learn to forget ourselves. And instead of adhering to this kind of illusionary self-identity, we are seeing truth in this very moment. That's the replacement. Instead of our self-story in our head, we see what is as it is. Not as it should be or could be or would be, but it is like this. The body feels like this. Learning to receive it like this. Learning to receive it in silence. Not commenting on it. It requires training, so please train. You can do it all day long, wherever you are. Working at home, fantastic. It's very good. You can make your own, like a little rituals, brewing a cup of tea. Spice up your day a little bit with little breaks where you're just sitting down, quietly appreciating your body. Receiving the body within a friendly, aware space. Relaxing into it. Enjoying that time. This is not an exercise that you have to do. It is an enjoyment time. It is time for you to actually relax and enjoy. Nice. You sit down on your cushion, that could be a kind of sound that you make to get your brain, to teach your brain in a way. You can say the neuronal network that you're now relaxing. So you sit down in your cushion, you go, finally. Now I can just leave myself alone for 30 minutes. It's great. There's nothing to accomplish, nothing to get, no one to become, nobody to be. Just this moment as it is. No need to run away, no need to anything, no need. This is where you recharge. Cultivate that. The other aspect of our spiritual life is how do you translate it into relationships? Because being a human being is all about relationships. And relationships are super important on the path. Now, at first, I've been talking about the relationship you have with yourself. Relationship of silence, relaxation, and joy. Just appreciating, receiving yourself in a loving space. That's the relationship you have with yourself. The relationship that you have with other people really
comes from that. So it's not so much about talking a lot about, you need to go around and love people and so forth. But actually, if you start to feel comfortable with yourself, and if you can receive yourself and your body, your mind in a kind space, then that translates to the way you treat other people, to the way you see them even. If you're at peace with yourself, other people appear lovely, naturally. And even if they misbehave or kind of say nasty things, you can't help but to see something lovely inside of them. Like a little boy that's cursing on the playground. For that little boy, it's very serious business. He's really angry. His friend just took his toy away. He's really angry at his friend. It's serious for that little boy. Before you're like, well, you're grown up. You know that kind of stuff. Oh, when I was small like that, I used to get upset too. You understand. You can relate because you understand. And you can also see just how cute it is. That little boy is like, in all his anger, And in fact, there's this kind of little child in all of us. If you really look, if you really feel, if you care to see, to look at yourself, and you see that inside of yourself, then you will find it in other people too. And then you can go into relationship to other people like that. You can see that loveliness in them. That aspect in them that is warm, that is kind, and that actually wants to be loved also. It's nice to see that in people, just to have that knowledge. Look, that's what we all share in this room. All of us want to be loved, appreciated. All of us want to be seen. That's what we all share. Can you feel that? It's what connects us. And it kind of destroys, for a little while, it destroys that rubbish story in our head that we take so seriously and that makes us suffer so much. That sense of human connection to others, which comes from softness, gentleness, warmth, which you have given to yourself first. And so you don't take yourself so seriously anymore. Your emotions, your thoughts, it's not serious anymore. Therefore, it's not so much suffering anymore. We suffer because we take our emotions and our thoughts so incredibly seriously. It seems also heavy and important. When cosmonauts, when astronauts, when they are shot up into space, and then they look at planet Earth, for many of them it's a very transformative thing to see that blue planet from a distance. Instead of being like stuck in the rat race on your way to work, somewhere in a street in New York or something, and you're just on your way to work, and it's just such a hectic, busy experience, and it's so important, the meeting at 9 a.m., and I hope I can get the presentation across, and oh my God, did I forget some of the papers at home, and it's so important in that very moment, because we really forget. We have no perspective in that moment. So it feels very serious, life-threatening. When it's just you running through a street, that small human body running through that small street, and you zoom out more and more and more. Do you see that? Buzzing blue planet. Those like little human beings, like everyone really important. Taking ourselves very seriously. I'm a meditation teacher. You have to respect me. I'm on the path for whatever amount of years, and I'm very holy and very spiritual, and don't you feel my vibes? This kind of stuff. That comes into the mind. When we take it seriously, there's trouble. Then I actually do feel like I'm a teacher and you are students. Here's trouble already. Too serious, too heavy. It's like an actor getting lost in its role, losing himself. It's very temporary, the roles we play now. I'm playing this Tobi role. Also very temporary that I talk right now. I'm not always a teacher. Sometimes I'm sitting on the loo. I'm not a teacher on the loo. When I take a shower, I'm not a teacher. Eating breakfast, I'm not a teacher. Most of the time, I'm not a teacher. But then some of you guys might think, oh, Tobi is a teacher. Now that's the moment when I assume the role of a teacher in your head. Sometimes assume the role of a student. I am in the presence of my own teacher. I become a student. Like that. So it's constantly changing our kind of our self-perceptions, our role that we seem to play on this blue planet. This tiny little human being that hopes to live a long life and celebrates birthdays and is stuck in a traffic jam and is cut off on the road. Worries about family and friends, does a Facebook post. It seems all very heavy, but it's actually nothing. It's like a dream. So for seeing life a bit more playful helps heaps. Seeing yourself through a bit of more humorous lens helps heaps. With kindness, with warmth, like you would see a puppy dog. Maybe you don't like dogs, maybe a small cat, a kitten, or something like that. Something cute. If you can see yourself like this, like you can often give this example, like you can see yourself like your mom when she first held you in her arms after you were born. So that first moment, she was all sweaty and just holding you for the first time. How did she feel about you? If we all felt about ourselves like that, most of the time, a war could not happen. It's impossible. Because you would immediately also understand that we are all like that. Very fragile. Nobody wants to die. Nobody wants to lose. Nobody wants to feel fear, depression. No, that we're all scared of these kind of things. All of us. I'm scared of illness. I'm scared of death. I'm scared of loss. Just like all of us, it's about this honesty on the beginning of the path. We're not pretending anything. It's not a path of pretense. So we receive the feelings that we have honestly with kindness, and then we relate this honesty and kindness which we have for ourselves to other people automatically. But there is, of course, you can say there is this kind of practice of kindness that's also very important. Plays a big role too, in which creating circumstances for our body in which we can learn these skills. Like, let's say, you go and you do some community work in a soup kitchen, or do something for charity, or whatever it is. Get out there and help someone. That is meaningful. Relating in a meaningful way to other living beings, making it kind of your goal to make people happy. And then like a sort of a secret tip I would like to give is make a mental diary every night before you go to sleep, or write it down actually, it's even better. Write down what you did today that you feel good about. What did you do today that you respect? Does anything come to mind right now for you guys? Is there anything that you did today that you would respect about yourself? Like feeling honest respect for yourself. Wow. What I did today, this is worthy of respect, I feel. So I did really well there. So you notice this is not easy, huh? But you might find things that you feel like, I made a mistake here. I shouldn't have said that. Shouldn't have acted like that. That is more easy. So it's a habit of the fault-finding mind. the things we did that are inspiring, that are nice, worthy of respect, that uplifted yourself or others or both. And if you start writing that down, maybe first day, second day, you will not find anything at night, and you'll be like, oh God, well, there's nothing much today, you know. So you write down, well, nothing much today. Maybe something small comes to mind. I saved an ant from drowning in my orange juice. Is that good? Yeah, of course it is. You saved a life. Doesn't matter how small. We are quite small, seen from a different perspective. We are very small. And yet you would appreciate it greatly if someone would pull you out of a glass of orange juice. So an ant also appreciates it. Pull it out from the orange juice, an ant appreciates that. So you did a little thing that is nice, that is good. It comes from a positive motivation. What is the motivation? It's compassion. You understand another being's pain. And based upon your understanding, you act. Fantastic. You put yourself into someone else's shoes and you actually understand what they're going through because you really listen, and based on that you act. Wonderful. Now, since day one there's nothing much, day two nothing much, you start looking out for stuff that you could do because you want to write stuff down at the end of the day, right? So you want to stay consistent with that. What could you write down tonight? You still have a few hours before you go to bed, maybe 1 hour, maybe 2 hours. Still space for something good to do. It shifts your attention from how life right now doesn't really work out because of my emotions to, yes, but I can do something about it now. It might really be the case. It doesn't really work out. Maybe you feel stuck, feel unhappy, but you can shift it immediately because you can do something good right now. Simple reasoning. You can shift immediately. And then all it takes is consistency. Keep going. Keep building the good. And keep celebrating it every night. So it gives you some sort of purpose as well. Why am I alive today? And eventually you get skilled at this. You can put more and more goodness into your day. And it becomes more and more fun. It is an uplifting thing. You'll notice it results directly in more happiness. Because making other people happy gives you immediate satisfaction. You feel great if you can manage to make another person smile. I ask you right now, can you make anyone in this room, could you make someone unhappy? Could you? Just being creative a little bit. What could you do to make someone unhappy? Would that be possible to do? Could you make someone unhappy? Is there a possibility for that? I could. Just need to criticize someone a little bit. And mean it. Easy. And that person is immediately unhappy, right? You have that power to make other people unhappy, don't you? And you could use it. But you also have the power to make others happy. And you can also use it. And it's not so difficult. For most people, it's enough if you really listen to them. Really listen to them. Not for the sake of giving an answer. So you can put your next sentence out there. But really just because you listen to them. Like that. Very fulfilling for many to be listened to. We're back at number 1 here. It is very fulfilling if you start listening to yourself also. This is the sense of fulfillment. It's someone is looking at me. And even if it is yourself, it doesn't matter. It's the same effect. Someone is looking with loving eyes at myself. I am looking at myself with loving eyes. I'm looking at my mind, my body with loving eyes. Very fulfilling, very nice. So this is the kind of practice. We go out there, we become creative, we have ideas. What could I do today to make people happy? And then final tip is don't think more than today. What I mean by that is, don't worry about tomorrow. Today is good enough. What can you do today? Today is still a broad spectrum. But you want to assume that, all right, tonight I'm going to die. And then really get into this. Really feel it. How does it feel like? How does it feel like you're going to die tonight? Really touch it. Touch the feeling. Allow that feeling to touch you. It's, I have just this now. Tomorrow means die. In a week, dead. In a month, dead. Year, dead. Think like this, just today. And most of your worries will be gone. And a lot of life comes to you. Is that what thinking about death or contemplating death usually does to us? It takes away our future. So I'm giving you a diagnosis. I'm very sorry to tell you, but it is cancer. You have probably 2 months to live. It's spread too far already. For most people, it's a big shock at first because they are robbed of their future. There's no more future for them. And since we're so used to defining ourselves by what will come, that is a shock. So this whole story of I will, is suddenly, you can't use that story anymore. So who are you then? You're thrown back onto yourself. What some people do then, after the shock, they go into their past. It's the only thing left. Some they feel bitter about it. Some they feel kind of like nice memories. Most people seem to be feeling bitter about their past when they are dying. This is not my opinion. This is has been said to my mom. She died in the palliative care just this last January, also through cancer. And the guys, the nurses in the palliative care unit, they said that most people in this unit, they have been working for 10 years there, so that they die very bitter. And so the nurses appreciate a great deal because my mom was a very cheerful, very relaxed and thankful. She had pain, but and she complained also, but through that there was a great gratefulness also, thankfulness and a sense of happiness. And the nurses came into her room to relax. Seriously, I've seen it. The nurses came to sit at her bedside to take a break from their shift, day by day. This was a cheerful person. My mom was cheerful. In all the other rooms, there were people who were like really angry that they had to die because they had so many things they wanted to do still. That's the downfall of living in a non-existent future. We are not living. We're living a life which is merely a story in our head, a replica of a life, hoping to find ourselves later. So the reflection of death is not there to make you depressed. It's there to make you wake up. And look at what you really have right now. What can you do with that today that you would feel happy about before going to sleep? So that's pretty much it. I think it's completing that talk.